Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Time for a little coffee chatting, folks. All right, notifications just went out. So, hello, Miss Christy. Look at you. We haven't seen you on here. Good morning. How are you? Jessica, good morning. There's not enough coffee in the world for today, I've decided. Morning, everybody. I will wait till you all start rolling in. Miss Tracy, good morning. Hello, hello. How's everybody this morning? Good morning, Deborah. It is yet another rainy spring day in Vermont. Someday the sun will come. Someday the sun will come. Good morning, Patty. Deanne, good morning. All right, everybody's kind of rolling in. Good morning, Joyce. Katie, morning, everyone. Allergies already. Crazy stuff, right? God, excuse me. All right, we're going to start the audio podcast so that I don't forget, because some of you that watch all the time know that sometimes I forget to hit the button and then we end up with no audio. Good morning, Janet. Basilia, good morning. Hello, everybody. How is everyone? Good morning, Megan. All right, this morning we're going to talk about pulling your good and pulling a result to you. Good morning, Debbie and Lisa. Rather than trying to force a result to happen. Good morning, Kath. Good evening to Kath. She must be in another part of the world. Good morning, Susan. So when you are trying to, let's use a date as an example, just because it's an easy example. Good morning, Dolly. Oh, Dolly likes my outfit. This is Nike's new spring line. It is, I thought that it would be, I thought it would make us all, next weekend's Easter, spring, resurrection, high energy, overcoming, beating back death, all good things. So we'll use a date as an example. You don't want to have to force somebody to take you on a date. And this could be a friend or, a person that you dig or whatever. But you don't want to have to, beat someone into wanting to go somewhere with you, right? Good morning, Sarah. Thank you for saying that. Sarah's thanking me for doing the show. She must know that this morning, again, for like the second or third week in a row, I woke up going, oh, I just can't. I don't feel like it. The good news is, as I was telling Tracy before this show, before we got on here, is that I am so well trained that it doesn't matter how I feel. I know how to just show up and do what I said I was going to do. And I promised myself that I wouldn't take a break from Coffee Chat unless I gave you guys, a warning so that all week you would know not to expect me. And of course, I haven't done that because I'm not taking a break right now. But in my mind, I don't want to do anything. I'd rather not. I'd just rather not. Anyway, good morning, Lynn Marie. So I digress. When you don't want to, I don't want to have to say, hey, let's go to see a movie and then, beat the person and drag them and pull them and, and drag them to the movie, right? Or drag them out to lunch. We want to go places or do things with people that are, that want to do something with us, right? So in the same way, when you want to bring good into your life, if you come from a place of anger and aggravation that results aren't what you want them to be, stress, strain, and worry about outcomes, and now we're going to go back to that chart, right? Back to the law of attraction, back to the emotional scale chart. And we created a Working Warrior Mom version, Revealing Leaders version of that for you. Tracy's going to drop the link. But back onto that chart, when I talk to you about, where your set point is on the emotional scale, that is your attraction point, right? So when you don't like the way that your life is, or you're feeling broke, or you're feeling abandoned, or you're feeling sad, or you're feeling apathetic, or you're feeling annoyed with the way that things are versus the way that you want them to be, we tend to get ourselves into this frenzy, right? Like it starts with, shit, I don't have enough money to pay my bills this month. And then from there, it's like, oh my God, how am I going to feed the kids? Oh, shoot, the gas prices have gone skyrocket. Oh my God, then the rent is, right? Now, you're in a frenzy, okay? And in that frenzy, you're like trying to pull, what you require to you, right? Because you've got yourself all worked up. Now, I've been doing some work with Brene Brown's Dare to Lead, and I'm actually going to get certified in the Dare to Lead protocol. I'm going to start taking coaching clients again, by the way, probably in maybe June or July. So stay tuned for that. And by then I'll be I'll be DISC certified and Dare to Lead certified as well. So I'll be able to share that body of work with my coaching clients. I haven't taken coaching clients in a long time because I'm pretty busy with what I do in my business consulting world. And I actually feel like I'm supposed to take coaching clients again. So anyway, stay tuned for more on that, because I'm going to offer you guys a special price if you want to work with me when I'm ready to do that. It won't be for a few months, but you can put that in your hat. So in the Dare to Lead protocol, Brene talks about, and I did a lot of landmark education work. I did like 2 decades worth of landmark work. And in all of that work, in that world of work, it was called like destructuring an upset and looking at, what's really under it when you get upset and reactivated. And Brene Brown language is it like, what story are you telling yourself? And so, for instance, if you woke up this morning and you looked at your bank balance and it's lower than what you thought, or you're looking at what's come. And I use money as an example because it's a real trigger for a lot of people. So it's easy for you guys to understand what I'm talking about when I say trigger and reactivity and frenzy, because especially as parents, moms, women, like money is, it's a big part of life, right? And it causes a lot of discomfort and arguments and worry and stress and strain. So it's an easy example to use. So if you wake up, you see your bank balance, or you see what's coming in for the month and what has to go out, and then you start having a reaction to that, to what you think about that. And then it's like, okay, so then what story are you telling yourself in there? What story are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself you're not going to have enough money to do what's required for the month? Are you telling yourself that you're not worthy enough to make the kind of income that you want? Are you telling yourself that you failed and that's why your bank balance looks the way that it does? So it's like, usually when there's a reaction involved, you're telling yourself a story, or you're assuming that something is true that isn't actually a fact right at the moment. So it could be that the bank balance is in fact lower than you'd like, and that just could be the end of the story right there. But all those other things that you attach to it is what causes you to go batshit. That's what makes the frenzy of worry, panic, fear. And when you're doing all of that, you're like a drowning person grabbing to save your life. That's trying to pull good to you. That's trying to force good to you. That's coming from a low vibration point. It's coming from a place of reactivity. It's coming from panic. It's coming from, all the lower scale of emotions. All a reaction comes from the lower scale, okay? So drawing your good to you, attracting your good to you, letting your good find you, solutions find you, letting things flow to you requires you to really be vigilant with yourself and how you're responding or reacting. Because I talk to you about this a lot, and I feel like I can't say it enough because you guys can hear me, and then when something happens that is unfavorable, you probably immediately forget everything that we've talked about, and you go right into the reactivity, the reaction of it all, the story that you're telling yourself. That story is just that. It's a story. It's not the truth. It doesn't need to be the truth about you, and it most likely is not the truth about you. If there's $5 in your checking account, the story that you might be telling yourself about how you're a worthless human being that can't make enough money or your income's not high enough, like that's not, the balance is what the balance is, and the story is what the story is. And for you to jump into that story and live in the story, you're now kind of, we'll call it like in a feeding frenzy. You're in that, you've got to grab and pull and force your good. Nothing, hi, good morning, Andrea. Nothing good comes from that. Michelle's saying she just posted about this in her morning post. Keep replaying the positive stories. Exactly. The negative stories aren't going to serve you. The reactivity is not going to serve you. The angst that you're creating for yourself, like none of that is going to serve you. None of it. But you guys are smart enough to know that. What you may not recognize is that when you're in this lower vibratory state, you are not attracting anything good, right? You're actually repelling it from you because your demeanor is so freaking toxic. Because you just jumped in with both feet and hands, and now you're in the sauce and you're drowning in the mess and you're panicking and you're frantic. And it's like what they tell you about quicksand, right? The more that you fight back in quicksand, the faster you sink. The more you frenzy yourself in reactivity and low emotional vibrations, the worse it gets. I understand how difficult it is when again, we're going to talk about money because it's a real trigger for a lot of people. I understand how difficult it is when you see what's coming in versus what needs to go out and it doesn't look like it matches up. I know that better than anyone. I filed for bankruptcy when Antonio was a baby. I have had several periods in my life where I've switched career, paths and a couple different things where I have had nothing. And I've had to sell stuff to pay bills, and I know what it's like to not have cash. And I know what it's like to have cash. And what I can tell you from living in that is that if you give into that fear and panic, you just perpetuate that. You just perpetuate what's happening. The way out of lack and limitation and poverty thinking, all of that, is you've got to find a way to live into your faith instead of your fear about it. You've got to find a way to raise your vibration and live into like the possibilities that could exist, solutions that could find you, different things that could move around to help you. You know, the universe, God, whatever you're comfortable with calling it, will literally move heaven and earth to meet every requirement. You have to do your part. If you look at people that are really suffering from economic conditions and you dug into what they say to themselves on the daily or what they're saying to other people, it's most likely a bed of, you know, negative activity, panic, fear, oh my God, you wouldn't believe this. And they probably might also be criticizing themselves, other people. You know, negativity feeds off of itself, positivity feeds off of itself, right? Whatever path you go down, you can find a lot of people to join you and kibitz with you. And truthfully, in the regular culture of the world, you're probably going to find more people that'll lean towards the negative, because most people complain about everything. They don't even recognize it. They get right down in there. And, you know, it's a feeding frenzy, right? Dodi's saying it's a snowball effect. Truly, it is. However, it could be a snowball effect on the other side as well, right? So when you can get yourself into a peaceful place, and, you know, we've talked about the tools to use, right? When you have to, like, get your mind in a different place, your affirmation cards, your manifestation list, all the things that we talk about all the time, right? Your vision board, your image book, whatever you're using. And, you know, we'll keep covering these tools over and over on different Saturday mornings. But if you've been following me for all the years I've been doing this, you know the drill, you know the tools. In order to raise your vibration, you've got to use tools consistently to get yourself in a different headspace. You're probably not just going to magically get yourself into a different headspace. As you know, I've been practicing this stuff since I was 12. I'll be 54. When I have something that comes upon me that I would consider unfavorable, that appears unfavorable, I go right to, you know, my affirmations. I go right to my manifestation. I go right to the tools that I tell you guys to use. I use those tools every day. I use them for about an hour and a half every morning, all the different things. I've been doing that for decades. That's how you get yourself from where you are now to where you want to go. It's not magic. There's not a magic book to read or a magic button to push. In order to start to learn to attract your good to you and not live in fear, strain, stress, and worry, you have to be vigilant with what's going on here. The only thing that is in your way of having the life that you want is you. Run after we're done and go look in the mirror, and who you see in there, that's the person that's in your way. It's not your ex-husband or your ex-wife or your partner or your boss or... No, it's you. It's you who can't vigilantly and consistently stop delving into negative bullshit and stop trying to beat your good into coming to you. When you raise your vibration, when you are able to control your mindset, when you're able to think in forward patterns and open yourself up to the possibilities that exist, your good will naturally start coming to you. Your good wants to find you. Abundance, prosperity, good health, all of these things, they want to find you. You are actually keeping that stuff from coming to you because of your pissy, shitty self-talk, your negative attitudes, your criticism of others, your... Good morning, Erica. it's where you're emanating from. It's where you're vibrating from. And we've talked about this the last several weeks. Like, where do you get up in the morning? When you put your feet on the floor and you get out of the damn bed, what is your first thought? Katie is reminding us that you are who you hang out with too. Katie, you're absolutely right, right? They say you're a byproduct of the 5 people that you hang around with the most or that you talk to the most. In this day and age, some people aren't actually physically hanging out, but you probably do have a collective of people that you interact with every day a lot. And you end up, being at the vibe of that. Erica says her first thought in the morning is coffee. That's good. That's not bad. That's a good thing. So I think you want to understand that you don't have to force good to come to you. What I really would love for you to understand is that when you can get yourself in a place, good morning, Angie, Delia, good morning. When you can get yourself in a place where you're raising your expectations for your life, right? Because you get what you expect. So if you expect very little, you'll get very little. If you expect trouble, you'll get trouble. If you expect good, you'll attract good. So expectation is a pretty high vibe, right? When you really can come to understand that how your demeanor is for most of the day, every day, that is the level to which you are, that is what you're pulling toward you. So if you're shitty, pissy, critical, finding fault, complaining, down on yourself, worried, more of that will find you. And that's when you start to feel like you have to yank and pull your good because, geez, it looks like shit and where's the good? And I have to run and get it and pull it and force it and drag it. Not true. Not true. And I know this because the things that I talk to you about, I've practiced them. I've been practicing them now for decades. Decades. It works if you work it, right? That's why that's a 12-step program motto. Nothing is going to change or realign itself until you change and realign yourself. We're in the last week of Lent for those of you that, give up something for Lent or do something in that regard. We are coming up on Easter Sunday, which is a known time of, rebirth, renewal, resurrection, like that. It's a great time this week to think about, where you have been showing up and start calling yourself to show up differently. I've really been challenging myself to look at what is my, where do I need to do linguistic surgery, right? Where am I, because when people call from work a lot, they start with what, right? And then so it's like, you really have to be vigilant. If you really start watching what is coming out of your mouth on the daily, it's an interesting exercise because you may think that you're a pretty positive person until you really start kind of monitoring every conversation that you're having because, it's really easy when someone calls you and they're complaining about something or they're being negative. Like sometimes we don't even catch ourselves and we're like, oh yeah, oh my God, oh, And, and you think to yourself, well, I'm not a negative person. And then, you get off one of those calls and you're like, oh, ew, why did I engage? Why didn't I just shut that down? Why did I allow them to clog up my, energy field with that shit? You pick up what is around you. If you go to dinner or lunch or a meeting or whatever with people that are like vomiting on you negativity and you come away with that. You know, your energy, that your vibe, your energy, like all that's real shit. You know, I know it sounds like airy fairy maybe, or it sounds like, but it's real. You go around somebody that vomits all over you with their negativity or their criticism of other people or their unforgiving attitudes for things that have happened to them or whatever, right? That's on you. It really is as if someone vomited on you. If someone literally vomits on you, it is on you. In the same way that you would have to clean yourself off and get in the shower and shake that shit off, you need to do that. If you're forced to be around people that are doing that, if it's a work meeting or, you know, if there's no avoiding it, make sure that you're doing stuff to clear your energy, you know, when you get away from them. I'm not going to get into all the ways that can be done because that's not really what I talk about, but you can certainly find plenty of people to help you with that and plenty of ways to do it. So I would suggest that, you know, that you take that seriously, that as you are working on, you know, forgiving, letting go, releasing, focusing on the higher levels of the emotional scale, and really understanding about attracting what you want to you, letting your good flow to you rather than feeling like you have to beat it, push it, and cajole it and pull it. You also have to look at who you're around, what that is, you know, what's coming over onto you from that, how you feel when you hang up the phone, leave the room. All of that is real stuff. So for this week, this is our last week of, you know, Lent. I would encourage you to really start looking at, you know, where am I, how do I show up? Like every day, if I'm not prompted by this or pulled by that, like what is my natural way to show up? And in that state, am I in a space where I am having to pull my good? Or am I in a space where my good will naturally find me and solutions will naturally find me? Controlling your mindset is huge. And it's the first step and cornerstone. Like the first thing is figure out where the hell are you vibing at on the daily? Like how are you showing up? How do you get out of bed in the morning? Like, where is your set point right now? So I would encourage you to go and print out our version of the emotional scale. And every day, this will be a little exercise to do. Every day, number the days 1 through 7. So have that chart, you put your feet on the floor, look at the chart, and put the number of the day. Monday will be 1. And let's do that from now until Easter Sunday. Let's see where you guys are showing up. Because you you can't really fix anything and you can't dig into any kind of behavioral change until you understand what the hell needs to be changed. You first have to understand, where am I right now? And I think it would be interesting for everyone to see, like, where are you? Are you pinging? Are you like, some days are you euphoric and other days you're, you know, in apathy? Do you always show up? Are you always angry and bitter and unforgiving? Like when you get up, are you thinking about all the people that did you wrong? Are you waking up in possibility? Are you waking up in fear? Are you waking up in annoyance? It's an interesting exercise to do. Where are you showing up on the daily? And from there, you'll be able to see where the work has to be done, right? You'll see if you're all over the place like this, the idea would be to get you to an emotional set point that's at least consistent. if you're consistently low on the scale, like consistently angry, that bears looking at, because where do you need to do some forgiveness work? And where do you need to start letting shit go? If you're waking up constantly annoyed, that's worth looking at, because then we have to start asking, like, what are you doing every day that maybe are you forcing yourself to do shit you don't like or don't want to do? And is that really how you want to show up? Are you waking up afraid? And then, I can tell you what kind of work to do on that. So it's hard to, to give you a prescription for the work that will help you. Christy wakes up overwhelmed every morning. That's a good one too. It's hard to make a prescription for you on how to change and navigate, into a future that you want for yourself if we first don't know where you're sitting on the daily. Millie wakes up overwhelmed as well. I bet a lot of people wake up overwhelmed. I'm trying to think of where I wake up. I probably wake up like, ugh. I'm going to do this exercise right along with you. Because it would be interesting, right? If you're waking up in ugh and you're waking up in overwhelm, then I think, I think my prescription for you would be to start to look at, like, how are you taking care of yourself? What is your schedule looking like? How come we really want to start looking at like how come we're not waking up in joy, or at least in possibility, right? I mean, think about it. If we're all waking up in overwhelm or ugh, like what the hell are we going to create in the day with that? Erica saying, she's exhausted. Like, how, I can make you prescriptions and give you thoughts, ideas, and tools to change, how it is. We first have to know how it is, right? So next Saturday, I'll ask you guys, like, okay, what was your, what was the pervading emotion on the scale that you woke up into over the last, at that point, it'll be, well, if we start tomorrow, if tomorrow's number 1, then we'll have 7 days by next Saturday morning. And then Easter Sunday will be the next day. So it would be a great time for us to, make you a prescription for doing something new as of, next Sunday morning. So next Saturday, I'll be asking you to tell us in the comments, like, all right, which level, did you wake up in pretty much prevailing over the last 7 days? What was the set point that you woke up into? All right, and I'll do this right along with you guys. I'll print the chart out and stick it by my bed as well. All right, so you have your homework. Go check us out at revealingleaders.com. And we will talk to you next week. Have a great week, you guys. We'll say goodbye to our podcast folks. And we will see you soon.